There are over 100 abilities in Garden Warfare 2, and Battle for Neighborville got rid of over half of them. But don't worry, in return, we only got 14 new ones for the old classes. Great! Not really. It's not like they're all that balanced either. As you can probably guess, this is where I balance them, along with the new class abilities. With that all out of the way, I hope you enjoy this part of the Garden Warfare 3 series. Starting off, we have Snapdragon. The Swoop Slam is probably one of the most temperamental abilities in the game. Sometimes you get massive amounts of disjoint and vanquish people through walls, while other times you don't even get off the ground, doing nothing but a fancy somersault. All this ability really needs is a bug fix to make its results consistent, both the good and the bad, as well as nerfing the damage so you don't do 150 damage for a direct hit. I'd make the sweet spot deal 100 damage, and everywhere else 75. Blue Blazes I think is pretty good, but it often goes out of its way to take convoluted paths towards the target. I'd make its homing a bit better, but otherwise it's fine. The Blazing Trail I also think is good. It's a pretty underrated ability that excels at locking down areas and forcing players to play around the new hazards it creates. If I were to buff it though, I'd make its always zombies take extra damage if the fireball that summons the columns of fire makes contact with them, along with making said fireball not get caught on the tiniest of roadblocks. Nightcap time! The Casting Shadows ability is, as far as it goes, a fine ability. It's pretty annoying when you get stuck inside of it, but almost all characters have some sort of movement ability to escape. I'd probably decrease the grasp it has on the movement hijacking it gets, as it's pretty close to being a stun ability. The invisibility plants get inside of it is also pretty lackluster, and reviving people inside of it is a complete joke as the beam connecting you to them blatantly reveals where you are. So, I'll make the revival ring and body also invisible. Feng Fu is a fine enough ability. It's nothing compared to the old one, so that automatically makes it better. Ugh. As Nightcap's only damaging ability, I think that it balances itself out. I will admit, I haven't played a lot of Nightcap, so I'm basing this mostly by my experiences against it. My judgment here might be hazy, so please let me know if I didn't get this one right. Shadow Sneak is also the same. The smoke cloud that subtly reveals where you are is also a great way to keep it balanced, and they each last the correct amount of time for you to cover a significant distance while still being kept reasonable. When looking at the Sap Trap abilities, they're pretty much what the Sticky Explodey Ball would be if done right. It no longer has a janky hitbox, players can see it coming and avoid it, it has a distinct sound cue to let you know when there's one nearby, and they don't start to recharge unless it gets detonated or destroyed. I guess that because the Sap Trap needs to be activated remotely, I'm comparing apples to oranges, but if they exploded when people get close to them, it would basically be a well-designed version of the Explodey Ball. As for the changes I'll make, I'll shorten the height it gives Acorn if you use it on yourself, as the mobility you get from that ability on a class with a tiny hitbox is pretty nutty, especially with the Rewind upgrade. Contrarily, the Oak needs more mobility as a giant target, so I'll incorporate the Slapback upgrade into it by default to allow the Oak to launch himself with the ability. Haha, get it? I said nutty because it's an acorn. It's okay, you can laugh. It's funny. The dash is also pretty straightforward. It's a heroic kick without all of its momentum, which is honestly a good thing. Can you imagine an acorn speed ghosting across the map and back? And like heroic kick, I'll make it so that the dash can only go forwards for the same reason I changed the Scientist's Warp a while back. Outside of the usual 3 abilities, the Acorn gets a secret 4th one in the Lumber support. I think that it's good for the Oak player, as it gives them a little bit more survivability, which is much needed. But I don't think that the Acorn itself needs the 50% armor boost, so I'd bring it down to 25 or 15% instead. And just so you're aware, I talked about the Wildflower at the same time as TV Head back in the last part. Now that all of the new classes have been talked about, I'll wrap things up by discussing the new abilities Battle for Neighborville gave to old characters. Starting with the Pea-Shooter class, the only new ability he got was Pea-Suit. Because I don't want to overshadow Super P-Jump again, I'll remove the ability it gives you to jump higher, but keep the hovering mechanic so you can cross larger gaps by falling from higher surfaces. I'll also keep the rate of fire boost, as that will become the main draw of the ability now. Sunflower got Sunny Side Up, probably one of her most infamous abilities because it can make you and your allies completely immortal, and paired with the Shove upgrade, it's impossible to get close to her. So for Garden Warfare 3, it will become an alternate ability to the Heal Flowers, and give all the Healing Suns an arming period before they're ready to be used so you can't instantly heal yourself with the ability. It will also have a longer cooldown between each use, and you won't be able to sprint while it's active. For the Chomper's new ability, we have Grody Goop. Such an overpowered ability. What I think I'll do with it is that instead of being a damage ability, it will be disruptive. It will still deal damage, but in ticks of 0.5 instead of 4, no longer spread, and have the initial damage be 15 instead of 40. For what it will do instead, it will eat through your opponent's ammo, consuming 10% of it every 1.5 seconds. The same would be applied to overheat characters, but filling up their overheat meters by 10% every 1.5 seconds. It will make their abilities recharge twice as slowly as well while they're affected, and make the effect last for 8 seconds. Cactus gets the Petal Propeller, something I felt she desperately needed. I also found it funny how in the Garden Warfare games, all 3 of her abilities involved using some other plant, so her finally getting something to herself is more than a welcome addition. It will go in the slot of the Tall Nut abilities, so if you want to be able to fly around, you lose the defensive option. I will nerf it though, as activating it will cost 50% of your stamina. This is because, as I have learned, any cactus that spams this ability for running away can be super hard to deal with. As I previously mentioned, I'm just not including Citron's Naval Laser ability because it clashes with the Beam Citron's primaries. Corn's Butter Beacon is a strange one. It's pretty harmless in Battle for Neighborville because of how mediocre its damage output is without it, and the X-ray vision it provides is nice because of the game's lack of spotting icons, which on a side note is something that I'd be including in Garden Warfare 3. If we were able to include the ability itself in Garden Warfare 3, or even Garden Warfare 2, it would almost certainly be one of the most broken abilities in the game, as it would give all the Corns an effective party time damage boost, not to mention how it would stack with Party Corn himself. I'll remove the damage boost it provides for the aforementioned balancing reasons, but I'll buff it by having the spotting icons include how much health the opponents have left, helping people dictate their aggression when confronted. Rose received the Jinx ability in Battle for Neighborville, which I'll not be including here because of how it overlaps with Necro's gimmick. Both Foot Soldier and Imp got nothing new added to their kit, so I'll skip them. Superbrain's got his Hyper Jump Thump, which in Garden Warfare 3 will be a replacement for his Heroic Kick if you so wish. Its suction effect will be nerfed though, because it feels like it can grab people from a disproportionately large distance. Captain Deadbeard gets Anchors Away, which, like the Cactus, I like because it's a proper mobility ability which is specifically designed to get yourself onto higher ground. I mean, technically he has Barrel Blast, but I think that having Anchors Away doesn't hurt. I'll just make it so it's more clearly indicated where you'll go when using the ability. Engineer is a special case, because he didn't only get his abilities changed when going into Battle for Neighborville, but he lost his drones when going into Garden Warfare 2 from Garden Warfare 1. What this means is that I'll be giving them back to him. They'll be put into his middle ability slot, and I'll have the physics changes I talked about for the Garlic and Parrot drones. I'll be honest, I don't know enough about these abilities for me to make judgment about their balance, so please let me know how you would balance them, if they need it. Engineer's kit was completely overhauled in Battle for Neighborville, so I'll keep the changes quick. The Bullhorn Swarm is terribly annoying. I don't like it because of how long the effect lasts for and how relentless the micro stuns are, so I'll make them only provide a stun if at least 5 charges hit you, otherwise it will do nothing. The next change is the addition of the Heavy Helper, which is like the Dark Flower, so I also find it annoying. It just does so much for one ability. Battle for Neighborville completely ruined the Engineer if you ask me, because all of his abilities culminated with him being such an easy character to hate, from his campy playstyle at best, or annoying ability spamming at worst. The Heavy Helper will deal less damage, as for an AI chart with Aimbot, it can shred your HP if you go anywhere near it. Last nerf is that it'll make that instead of instantly noticing plants that go near it, it will rotate around its line of sight in a patrolling fashion and only attack plants if they enter it. The Double Time Pad, though, is actually a good ability, so no changes are needed. It will go in the place of the Jackhammer. The Sticky Healy thingy will be nerfed to make it not heal as fast, because it's pretty insane as it stands right now. It will take the place of the Mega Heal Bomb. I also touched on the fact that Scientist's Heal Beam would be replaced with his Healing Hose, so this is where it actually takes effect. And finally, for the All-Star, the only largely changed ability was the Dummy Shield, where it now casts this dome of protection instead of just being an object you place down. This iteration will be added as an alternate ability, and have its health be buffed to 450 instead of 300, as it goes down very quickly, not helped by the fact that it has a weak spot in the middle. And now it's time for a bonus section! Since I know that I'll get a million comments about it if I don't go over these, I'll speedrun the Cheetos promotional abilities in Garden Warfare 1. The Cheesy Goop will have a rework, as a more damaging goop would undermine the idea of a chomp cannon. What it will do instead is tie into its sticker book of making the zombies taste good. Why did I even say that out loud? Chompers will be able to swallow cheesy gooped zombies 50% faster. As it turns out, the Chesterweed does the exact same thing, but I'd probably remove the ability as a whole anyways because of its design and name being impossible to disguise as a sponsorship. The Cheetah Heal Station will also be removed, because it will undo all of the hard work I put into balancing the other heal stations. And by the time I'm finished with this one, if I were to include it, it would definitely not be the same ability. The Cheesy Warp I do like though, as it works sort of like a Twilight Warp for the Scientist's class, and the damage is also nice. And for the Sticky Cheetah Ball... I'm not gonna go over it again. And there we have it! Almost every ability in the franchise has been covered and balanced. I hope you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you later.